Okay, so I'm going to do a quick little demonstration on how to apply value to some simple shapes, and I'll give you some examples of how you use value in a drawing. A couple things we're going to focus on real quick is light direction. In other words, where is the light hitting the object? Is it from above, like this? Is it from the side? Is it hitting it from below? That will determine where some shadow patterns are, and I'll show you an example. And then we're going to concentrate on a 3-value scale, okay? And I'll give you a demo of that. And then I'm going to give you some tips on how to shade, what not to do, and what to do, okay? Now before we do that, I'm going to show you some quick examples of how you would use value in a drawing. So for this lesson, we're just going to be adding value to some simple shapes. This is obviously a little bit more complicated, but you can kind of see how you can use different shades of gray to make something look three-dimensional, okay? So this is a drawing I did here using value. And remember, value is an element that we're studying. Okay, here's another example. Just a nice little quick little sketch here of an old sailor guy, okay? Again, you can see some light, dark shadows, okay? Let's look at another example. Here's another example of just kind of a quick little shading on a drawing, okay? Again, we'll be talking about darks and lights and directions of light sources. Here's another little sketch I did of a sailor. Real simple shapes, value shapes, okay? And here's some more sketches of pirates, okay? Using different shades of gray to create a value pattern of light and dark, which makes your objects look three-dimensional. Okay, let's do a quick little demo. So let's start with a basic shape. So I'm gonna let's draw a circle, and I just got this tape here and I'll use this as a template, okay? So this is a 2-dimensional shape, okay? This is a circle, but now we wanna make it a 3-dimensional shape, which is now called a sphere. And now how we do that by light direction, value, and shading techniques. Okay, so let's pick a light source. So let's say that I have a light coming in this way, right? The sunlight is coming in this way. One thing that you're gonna notice is that anytime you have a light source, the opposite side is gonna be the shadow. Okay, so we'll just sketch that shadow shape in there. So for example, if I move my light source here, the shadow would be over here, okay? So let me show you how we're gonna use a 3-value scale to make this shape 3-dimensional, okay? The first thing I'm gonna do is draw a box, and I'm gonna lightly shade that box in, okay? I'm gonna draw another box, and I'm gonna draw this box real simple, and then I'm gonna add the value to it, but I'm gonna make it just a little bit darker. And how you control that is by the pressure of your pencil. Okay, so I'm gonna draw another box here. Now I'm gonna make my 3rd value really dark, okay? And in the video, you'll see, the YouTube video, you'll see how the narrator talks about value, okay? So let's make this 3-dimensional with the light source coming in this way, okay? So here's the first thing I do. I just lightly shade in the shape using 1 value, okay? And I'm gonna kind of go back and forth, just kind of get a nice 1 value in there, okay? All right, so this is a 3-dimensional object because we're drawing a ball. And because the ball is round, the light's gonna come over the object in a round way, right? It's following the form of the ball. So the light rays are coming in, they're gonna go this way, okay? So what we need to do is we need to establish what we call a core shadow. A core shadow is usually around a number 2, and the core shadow tells me where the light is starting to bend over the object, causing a shadow. Okay, so this is where the ball and the light meet, and the light is bending over, and on this side, because it's away from the light source, is gonna be in shadow. Okay, so now what we have done is we have taken a shape, a two-dimensional shape, and we have assigned a light side and a dark side. We have separated this into a light and dark side, okay? Because the light source is here, the shadow is over here. So I'm gonna fill this in with a number 2 as well, okay? All right, so let's add some more value to this to make this shape look three-dimensional. Like I said, the core shadow tends to be a little bit darker than the shadow on this side, because this is where the light is really starting to go away. Okay, so that needs to be a little bit darker, and then this area here is going to be lighter. Okay, now the shadow is going to be dark because what's happening is the ball is blocking the light and casting a shadow onto the table surface. So we can just draw a little table here. Okay. All right. So this core shadow blends to the highlight real lightly. Okay. You can kind of see how I'm just kind of blending this out to a number 1 value. Okay. And you can kind of see how I'm using short little choppy circles. Okay. Now the light is hitting this ball directly here. So I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to create a highlight, because that's where the light directly hits and makes it real strong right there. Okay. All right. So there you go. There is now a shading of a two-dimensional circle. Now we have created a three-dimensional shape using 3 values. We have created form. We have made this three-dimensional, okay? So what I can do here is I can just lightly add in some shading here to kind of give it some contrast to make it look like it's on a table. Maybe shade in the background a little bit, okay? All right, so there you go. Okay, let's take a look at do's and don'ts. So when you shade, you want to use the side of your pencil and you want to go in small circles, okay? And you can kind of see that it's nice and smooth right now. So if I want to bump up to a number 2 value, I'm just going to slightly add more pressure. Okay, now if I want to bump up to a number 3, I can really add a lot of pressure. Okay, and I can go back over it. So what you have to do is you have to learn to control the pressure of your pencil to create a gradation going from dark to light. Okay, so here's another word that you're going to use throughout the semester: gradation. Gradation is a smooth transition from dark to light. Okay, let me show you what not to do. Some students, they'll shade like this. They'll hold their pencil up like this and they'll do that. Okay, this is a no-no. If you look here, these values are nice and smooth. Okay, nice and smooth. This is a nice smooth gradation from dark to light. Now, if you look at this example, there is no gradation there, right? It's just like this. You can't do that because in order to make something look three-dimensional, you have to have a variety of value, okay? So you want to get used to shading in small circles, controlling the pressure to change the value. Now, this takes lots of practice. So in your sketchbook, you can just practice making gradations from dark to light. Okay? All right, so what we can do now is let's say we want to make a box here. So let's take a simple box and we'll make this box three-dimensional. Okay, let's have the light source coming in this way. Okay, so here we have the light source going this way. Let's make it go this way. We'll change it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna add just the top of the box here. Sketch this out. All right. This is round, right? This is not round. This is hard edges. So you're not going to have this smooth core shadow showing roundness. Here it's going to be just hard, right? There's no roundness. So here's how I do that. So I'm going to just shade in the whole box with a simple number 1 value. Okay, number 1 being here, number 2, number 3. Okay. Now this side is away from the light source, right? So I know that's going to be my darkest side. That's going to be around my number 2. Okay. And I'm going to draw in a shadow shape. Okay. So the shadow has to be darker than this. So I'm going to assign that a number 3. And this I can just bump up a little bit more. But since the light is directly hitting this, I can go ahead and erase some of that to create a strong highlight. And let's put this guy on the table. Again, I can go in with just a simple number 1 value. Okay. Maybe bump it up a little bit over here so you can kind of see the contrast. Okay, so now I have made a three-dimensional form using value. Okay, so now you can see why value is really important when we draw. Okay, so let me just go back to another quick example. If you look at my example here, where is the light source coming? So the way that I figure this out is we separate the shape into a light side and a dark side. So you can see that the light source is coming in here. How do I know that? Because this is my light side, this is my dark side. Okay, so the hand here, you can see a core shadow here. Okay, you can see a core shadow on the finger, and you can see the small reflected light here. Okay, and this now becomes a three-dimensional form. Okay. As we move throughout the semester, you're going to learn that this is called your highlight. Okay, highlight, core shadow, right here, cast shadow, and this area here is what we call the reflected light. Okay, light comes in, boom, bounces off the table, comes back up, hits the bottom of an object. Okay, so in the YouTube video that you watch in slides, you'll see some really good examples of this. Okay, there you go, guys. This is the do's and don'ts on how to shade. Don't do. Okay, you want nice smooth gradation, nice smooth form here, gradation, using only 3 simple values. Okay, remember, you control the value by controlling the pressure of your pencil. There you go.